I want to talk about Budk, their knives, and if it's worth joining, their Knife of the Month Club. For those of you who don't know what Budk is, it's an obscure magazine that sells a lot of knives, survival tool stuff, just really cool, neat stuff in general. It really brings me back to like camping as a kid, a lot of nostalgic and getting out in the woods and getting your survival stuff. We were not surviving out there, we were just having a good time and playing around. About 2 years ago this month, I joined the Knife of the Month Club. So what they do is they have different levels, like most clubs that you can get into, and you can spend what they say is $10 a month to get a $20 knife sent to your house every month. So let's just talk about a couple of their knives and see what they've sent me. The first knife I want to talk about is the knife that inspired my first YouTube video. So they send you this knife. It is essentially a knife blank, and this is the BK4919. They send you multiple different kinds of paracord, and then you can wrap the handle yourself, and it's considered a jungle survival knife. By the way, all the knives that they do send you in these kits, and most of their knives, are Chinese stainless steel. It's great for pumping out a bunch of knives. They're easily manufactured, but they're not the best quality of knives, and that's why they can make these large knives like this and sell them to people like me for not very much money. That being said, they're fun to have. So this knife it's very balanced. It's not a bad knife. Would I carry it every day? Probably not. It's kind of big, so I do like it. Style, I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5. The next knife I want to talk about is the Budk 5198, BK5198. Comes in a Kydex sheath. Is it real Kydex? Probably not, but you can clip it onto your belt and it can move around. Pretty cool. It's got a finger well, very short, lightweight, plastic handle. Would I carry this one? Yep, probably. If I was camping or fishing or some place where I needed a handy knife that I didn't care if I lost. And that's kind of what all of these come down to. Style points, I'm going to give this one a 4 just because I like the knock on the end. I like the way that it fits in my hand. It's almost dagger shaped. It's more of a drop point. And drop point's my favorite kind of knife. We'll move on to the next one. This is the 8CR14 Contender. Now, one thing I've noticed about these Contender knives is when they do sell these, you can buy most of these in a D2 tool steel. So if you like the Chinese version of this knife that's just Chinese stainless steel, you can get the same knife in D2 tool steel, which is a harder steel. It stays sharp longer, and it's a better quality knife. I did carry this one for a little bit. It has a pocket clip. The blade sits upside down in your pocket. Some people don't like that. You cannot flip that around, but all around, it's not a bad little knife. It's kind of ugly, and I think that's why I like it. So it wind up getting a little chattery, pretty loose, pretty quick. It's a little heavy on the forward side, but it's still a good little knife to carry. Again, a knockaround knife. Most of these are, but not a bad knife. Style points, I'm going to give it a 2 just because, and these are out of 5, 2 out of 5, just because it's, I don't know, I think the handle's too skinny, and it feels okay. It's not great. We'll move on to the next one. This is also another Contender. It has no spring assist. It has the ball bearings on it. Also another one that you can buy in D2 tool steel. So if this is something that you like, it would be beneficial to buy the cheaper version of it. And then if you liked it, you wanted a better version of it, buy the same knife in D2 tool steel. Now, this one is a little heavier. The finish on the outside of it is a matte OD green, and it feels good. It's got a little bit of a grip to it. Kind of reminds me of a little dinosaur or something here. It's a pretty cool little knife. It's got a funny backwards blade on it though, and I don't particularly like that in a pocket knife. So style points, the Contender is going to get a 3. Its saving grace is the handle material. Moving on to another one that I carried for a very long time, so much so that it used to be black and now I've worn all the paint off of it. This is the Tailwind. It is a 3CR13. The pocket clip keeps the blade down on this one, which some people do like better. I've started to like them with the pocket clip at the top so that the blade points up. When you grab it out, you can immediately have it ready. So no spring assist. It does have the little tail on the back side that you can flip it up real quick though. Very lightweight. It was fairly sharp when it started out. Style points, I'm going to give this one a 3. It looks a little alien-like, and I think it's pretty neat. This is the Tailwind ball bearing setup. It is the 3CR13. This one's heavy. This one bulky. It's very military-esque feeling, like almost like a futuristic military feeling to it. It does have a little bit of a spring assist. All of these have the interlock right here, where most knives you see people, you hand them a knife and they open it up and they try and close it back here like an old pocket knife. It's not a locking blade folder like the other ones. It is a interlocking blade folder where the inner tab comes over to the side. Another cool feature about this one, it has a low pocket clip. So the pocket clip sits fairly high so that when it clips into your pocket, not a lot of the knife sticks out. I'll see if I can get it stuck on something here. So that's how low it's going to sit in your pocket, which is handy. I didn't give this one style points. I like this one. I really like this one. I'm going to give this one a 4. Now I'm going to move on to one of the worst ones I got. I can't remember if this one was part of the Knife of the Month Club or if this was like a free Karambit day. Karambit, however you say that. I know everybody says it differently, but this is ugly. It's kind of cool. As a teenager, I probably would have really liked this knife, but the hole is just, it's way too big. There's no lining. It's crappily cut, and it's very uncomfortable to be used for the purpose that it's used for. This is the BK4586, made in China. It's bulky. It's very, very chintzy, I would say, but it is sharp. I will give it that. It is sharp, but not practical. I don't like that one. I'm giving it a 2. The M84. This is kind of supposed to be a little bit of a military knife. It says Battleborn. I did not do that. UC3347. The M48. Also, the front says 8CR13. This is plastic. So everything on here is a rubberized plastic. The handle is, I mean, it's very light, and I would throw this in a backpack and cut up fish with it for bait. It's floppy. It's not a good knife. It does look okay. It looks like it could be a good knife, but all in all, I'm also giving this one a 2. I carried this one as well. This is a Black Ronin. The brands that they've sent me, Black Ronin has been pretty much one of the better ones. Now, this one has a Japanese feel to it. It's got some Japanese lettering, or Chinese, sorry for my ignorance here. This one doesn't even have any numbers stamped on the blade, so I can't give you a model number on this one because I've gotten rid of most of the boxes on these. But it is, just like the last one, a rubberized and plastic handle. It kind of reminds me of like a little katana. I know it's a tanto blade. It does have a recurve on it, again with the interlocking, but it's not a bad little knife. It's got a better feel to it than the other one. It's more like cigar shaped. This one fits your hand pretty well. The clip is blade down, so the spring assist on this one is pretty decent. I like it. I'm giving this one I'm going to give this one a 3 just because it has a plastic handle. Another Karambit. So this is a neck knife. Everybody here knows what a neck knife is. It is basically a necklace with a friggin' knife on the end of it. This one is painted, probably some kind of hydro dipping, mass produced. Probably would flake off if you used it a bunch. But what I do like about this one is the hole well in the back is small enough for either your pinky or your index, depending on the style that you use these knives. Cheap, ugly, kind of cool. My hand is too big for this one. I cannot grip it properly. For that, I'm going to give it a 2. This one was probably my all-time favorite carry knife. I like this one so much that I actually bought 2 more just like this. Also another one that you can buy with the D2 tool steel. This is a Contender. No numbers on this one, but I like the way this one feels. It's a small, tight little knife. The blade is fairly thin. And when you're looking for a decent carry pocket knife, you don't want something that's just massive like this. You don't want something huge. This is a good knife. It keeps a good point. The edge surprisingly stays very sharp. The anodized blue everywhere on it, it stayed. Some of it did wear away, but that's not what I'm looking for here. It's a full metal body construction. It does have a little bit of plastic or Kydex on the outside of it, held in by Allen screws. Everything's held together. This one stayed tight. I carried this for several months. Style points for this one, I think I'm gonna give this one a 5 because it's cool. I love this knife. This is a good little knife. I laughed my ass off when I saw this package come in the mail. So this is the Rampage. Another good brand that they send me. They're fun. All steel construction, no plastic. This thing is a tank. Now, the funniest part about this is it has a pocket clip. So, of course, I put this in my pocket and take it to work. The very first day that I get it, it is a beast of a knife. It is a little chattery. When you close it, sometimes it sounds like a turkey call. Not every time, but funny, hilarious, and you can really chop some stuff with that. Hilariously huge, ridiculous to carry, super heavy. I mean, just the funny factor alone has sold me on a 4. I'm giving it a 4, like it or not. Another cool one, Shenhua brand. This is supposed to resemble ancient Asian culture. It's very long and skinny blade. I do like that too. Locks straight, completely straight. There is a pocket clip on this one. Blade up, interlocking, metal frame, very weird plastic rubber construction handle. So this one, I'm probably gonna give this one a 2. I mean, they tried. It has a really traditional feel to it. I don't like it. 2 more small knives and we will go to the bigger ones. So this is, let's get it out of the package. Okay. Alright, right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm probably not going to like the way this knife cuts because of the dog leg in the blade right here. So do you see that? This looks like possibly just plastic on the backside. Full metal frame. Blue anodized pieces. Doesn't seem like it has a bad feel though to it. I will give it that. The blade seems short for how big the handle is. So you've got this much handle and this much blade. I don't think I like that one too well. It'd probably be good with a lot of back force if you needed to punch through something. But I probably wouldn't punch through something with a Chinese stainless knife. Let's give that one a 3. You know, I like the way the handle feels. The blade itself, 3. Alright, we'll go on to the next one. This is another Rampage. So let's do a little bit of unboxing here. And see what we got. This is a strange looking one for sure. I do like the color. The color is not bad. It's almost like a smoky, silvery, long pointed blade. Okay, here we go. This might be a good knife. The clip is on the back side, so that's going to leave me blade up in my pocket. I've said that before in this video already. I've already mentioned that. I do prefer the knives with the blade up. Very long, slender point. Now, it does feel pretty good. We've got a through hole in the back. We could keychain that if we wanted to. We could lanyard that even. Spring, no spring assist. I'm kind of steering away from spring assist knives. I just like the feel of being able to put that blade wherever you want on your own by yourself without the spring assist. So I'm going to give this one a 4. I'm giving this one a 4 until I try it out. So I'm going to move on from the smaller knives to some of the bigger knives that they've sent me. We'll start with this one. So it's called the Bushmaster. This is probably some kind of survival knife that they give you. So it comes with top nylon sheath, plastic, Kydex, probably their cheap version of Kydex. And then you come out and it's got some little jaws on the back side. I was going to call them serrations, but I don't know if that even qualifies as a serration. You have a eye hole in the middle, plastic handle. You do have the little tie-ins where you can use it for, you know, let's tie it to a stick or something. I'm not a fan of this, and I'm going to tell you why. You put any force behind this handle, and I bet that handle breaks because guess what? It's the same kind of plastic that they used for the sheath. They fell short here. I'm not impressed. I'd probably give this one to one of my kids and let them chop sticks with it until it breaks. So I'm giving that one a 2. Just, I don't like it. Moving on, we're going to go to, I don't even remember what this one's called. Very similar. It has an inscription, Marine Force, Recon, anything, anytime, anywhere. Now, I'm not knocking anybody in the military. I'm knocking this knife a little bit. It's bulky. It has, I do appreciate it's almost like a hollow grind. I don't know if that'll translate in the camera, but that's probably a good camp knife. It would be a very good camp knife. Plastic handle. It does have rubberized grips though, so that one does have a little more over the other one. I do like the clip point. It's pretty significant, and that false edge could even be ground down a little bit if you wanted to make that some kind of penetrating, stabbing action knife. I'm gonna give that one a 3, only because of the handle material. I think they tried too hard with that one. Some of these people are stuck back in the Rambo days when they design these big knives. Change it up a little bit, make it a little bit newer looking. One thing I am going to mention about between this knife and the next knife is that they are pretty damn similar. Actually, I know they use the same mold for the handle. I can't remember what the inside looks like, and would you believe it if I told you it's almost the same knife? It is slightly different. It has an inner bow to the inside, kind of like a kukri. It does have a drop point in the front, not a clip point per se, but pretty close. The false edge comes all the way back. We're ridged up here, 3 holes. This is called the Zulu 5.56. We all know that's an AR-15 round. And this is the BK4793 stainless steel China. Now this one for some reason feels a little different. Maybe it's the balance, I don't know what it is, but I would prefer this one over the other one. I'll still give this one a 3, just because I do prefer the gray over the green. Maybe I should give it a 4, but let's do 3.5. Give it a 3.5, guys. Probably fairly sharp. Most of these knives come very sharp, but they don't keep an edge for very long because of the low grade steel. Another one that I've never taken out, so I'm not really quite sure what this one is. It has a picture on the outside. The Amazon Jungle Survival Knife. Now, one thing right off the bat I will say about this one, there's no plastic, or there's no nylon, it's all plastic. It is all plastic. If your clip broke, you're screwed. It does look like it has a place for a mountable clip where you can click the whole thing in something. There's nothing in the box, but you've got the holes down the side where you could tie this to your boot, make this a boot knife. Very similar to that, has the boot knife action. Full round handle, and now that's what I would call a serration. So the backside is serrated a little bit. It probably has some kind of sawing act. The blade comes straight up, no bend, no deviation till you get to the top. Pretty big dagger. Amazon Jungle Survivor BK5196, made in China. Same hole punched out in most of these big knives. I do like the rounded handle. I don't know how accurate you're gonna stay with a rounded handle. Knives tend to deviate when you have a rounded handle. It's hard to index where you're gonna be. Lanyard hole in the handle. Again, more holes down here. You could tie this off to something. You could use it on the end of a spear or a stick and just use it as a spear and stab something from a distance. So I suppose that if you wanted to take this and use it as a survival knife, you might get laughed at by your friends, but it might get you out of a pinch. I'll give it a 4. You know what? No, I don't give it a 4. I'm gonna give it a 3. Okay, the Fatal Hunter fixed blade knife. Right off the bat, full plastic handle. Doesn't seem like it has a bad feel to it. It is a little narrow in the back side. Does have a lanyard hole. It does have a pretty deep finger well in the front. And then the blade, ooh, I don't like that either. The blade has a snap here, so it must be a heavy-ended blade, and it is. So we do have one well hole in the middle. For whatever reason you needed that, you have it. It has an inscription. Fatal Hunter, Predator meets Prey. It's ugly. Man, it's ugly. It feels good. It does. It does feel good. It has a good weight to it. Pretty good balance for a cheapo knife. The handle is a little large. If you notice, I don't have a very small hand. I don't have a huge hand. But you'd have to have a very large hand to fit that comfortably. I don't think they got it quite right on this one. They tried really well, and they could have really came through on that one. I would not purchase this one if I could choose it. It's very beaky. It's very ugly, but it might be a good chopper. I'm gonna give it a 2. On to the very last knife. This is got a little dust on it because it's been sitting around for a little bit. This is the Death Dealer Tactical Knife. So let's see what we got in here. Again, with the plastic, I don't know. It's got the same style in the back, almost like you could click it into something that you carry on your belt. More boot knife action there. Let's see what we got inside. And it's not bad. If this was a full metal construction, this would probably be a really good knife. They did make it to where you could put, I know they're trying to do a bayonet style right there, but it's not working very well. You could bayonet a BB gun with that. So let's say the BB gun bayonet knife, rubber handle, plastic and rubber handle, BK 5194, made in China, bloodletting grooves. Holy cow, what a knife. What a knife. Since it's got a skull on it, I'm going to give it a 3. That's its saving grace. This one actually kind of fits my hand a little better. You can move just a little bit on there, but all in all, I mean, you could probably debark some sticks when you're camping with that thing, but don't depend on these kind of knives to save your life. Now you're probably thinking, Nick, we haven't got to 24 knives. And you're right. But what you don't understand is I have a little boy and a little girl at the house who like to do things that daddy does. And I've since come up short a couple knives. Maybe 1 or 2 of them have broken. And maybe I have lost 1 or 2 myself. So yes, it took over 2 years to get all these knives. I've just kind of been stashing them, keeping them out, and I've got 21 left. So let's do a conclusion here. Is this worth about $17, $20 a month to get one knife every month? If you're a collector and you just want to acquire knives, the answer is yes. If you want better quality knives, they do have a Knife of the Month club that is a higher price. You wind up getting swords, probably machetes, things like that. Higher priced club, higher priced knives. Are they better quality? I don't know. Are they bigger? Absolutely. So you're going to get different knives with a different subscription. This is the lowest subscription you can get, and I did it just for fun. I didn't even plan on making a video out of this. Collecting knives has always been a hobby of mine ever since a kid. I'd go to an auction, I'd see even just the little ivory knives, and I would like those. I would get those. I still have them in my display case over there. That's where all of these knives are. Some of the bigger ones I do keep below, but the ones that I use, everything's out there. It's a hobby of mine that I enjoy. It's knife collecting. So if that's something you like and you're not looking for a high quality knife, this would be something to get a hold of. It'd be fun for your kids. If your kids are into that kind of thing, get them off the video games, get them outside, get them doing things like playing with knives, you know? So that's all I have today. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.